And not a lot of people in this country knew of him until the assassination of Charlie Kirk. And then it was Spencer Cox who was before the cameras asking Americans if we could just all stop hating each other.
A police report from Cedar City, Utah describes surveillance video of the man accused of killing Charlie Kirk pulling a grey Dodge Challenger into the gas station at around 7:15 a.m. on September 11. Well, 7:17 to be exact. That is according to a Scripps News exclusive. Scripps filed an open records request. In the video, according to Scripps, Tyler Hamilton is seen wearing a maroon-colored shirt and a dark-colored hat, filling up his vehicle with gas, and just 3 minutes later, driving away. A maroon-colored shirt and a dark-colored hat. Sound familiar?
I got nightmares in my head, I fear. Thoughts build up until I can't feel. And my mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper. I got nightmares in my head, I fear.
Hello and welcome to True Crime Rocket Science. This footage provides further corroboration that the Dairy Queen image is legit, which means we're getting an even more complete picture now of his movements in the post-meditation phase. Tyler Robinson sure does seem to like that maroon-colored shirt, doesn't he? But what inferences can we draw from this new CCTV footage? Before we deal with 5 inferences drawn from the gas station CCTV, I want to deal with a handful of comments. One that has come up a few times now is that the crime scene, the tent where Charlie Kirk was shot, well, it wasn't cordoned off. Well, it was. Have a look at these photos from the air, from the ground, zoomed in. Not only of the cordon, but of officers actually putting up the cordon. Jeepers, guys, where are you getting your information from? I mean, if you can't get a simple, small, obvious detail like this right, maybe you should leave proper true crime analysis to the big boys. Of course, you can't know any of this if you don't watch the news or read any news because you don't trust the news. Then there's also this comment. Do you not even read your own comment section? The ratio of people who don't believe the official narrative versus you is astronomical. How long are you going to keep towing the line for the feds unless you are one? Hey, true crime, read the room. Well, I am reading the room, and yes, I do read many of the comments, and I understand there are a huge number of people who don't believe the official story. I also know there are some huge channels pushing the conspiracy narrative and also some small ones that are trying to jump on the gravy train. He also refers to the ratio of people who agree versus those who don't agree. And here's my response to that.
I don't care.
Because I'm not here to win a popularity contest. That's not my number one priority or my only priority. I'm here to investigate these cases in an authentic way. You guys do know that I studied law, so I actually do care about the law. I'm also not unaware that those who are spreading these false claims are doing exactly what America's adversaries want you to do. Because they want you to sow chaos and distrust online. And that is exactly what you are doing, that is exactly what you are consuming, and it's exactly what I'm fighting against. Have a look at this article from Politico. After Charlie Kirk's killing, false claims flourish online with help from US adversaries. Foreign adversaries are weaponizing major news events to sow chaos and distrust online. Now consider the content you're consuming and consider the possibility that this is just sowing chaos and distrust. And the more confusion and mistrust they can inject right after a breaking news event, the harder it becomes for people to know what's true and who to trust. If people doubt law enforcement, journalists, or democratic institutions, it weakens those institutions' ability to act and communicate in a crisis. So all of this matters, all of this is very high stakes, and that's why I'm trying to counter this false narrative. If that's something you agree with, if that's something you believe in, countering this false narrative, and you want to get on board with it, now is your chance to subscribe to the most authentic voice in true crime. If you're finding this analysis worthwhile, please do hit the thanks button. A big thank you to Consistent Try and Debbie McNeil for hitting the thanks button. Thanks very much, guys, and let's get started. All right, and that brings us to 5 inferences drawn from the gas station CCTV.
We went back to Utah Valley University on the first day of class. It was 7 days since Charlie Kirk had been murdered there.
Now, one of the things I want you to realize is it took about a week for Tyler Robinson to allegedly plan his whole thing. Well, it's going to take us quite a length of time to understand all the insights and all the ins and outs that he had to come up with over a week's worth of planning. You're not going to understand a case in 1 day or 1 hour or one video. And so it is going to take a bit of time to fit and find the puzzle pieces. And so this CCTV, which came out a couple of days ago, is another puzzle piece that gets a lot of others to fit neatly into place. Number one being acting alone. The fact that we see Tyler Robinson and only Tyler Robinson in this footage corroborates the official narrative, which is that he acted alone. At the very end of the affidavit, it says, I have reason to believe the defendant, Tyler Robinson, committed the offenses as charged herein. The defendant and nobody else, right? We also see Tyler Robinson alone at the Dairy Queen, and at the moment of the shooting, he's the only one running along the roof at the time of the shooting. Number two, we see him with a vehicle on the day of his arrest. It should really be we see Tyler Robinson with his vehicle on the day of his arrest. Now, one potential defense for Tyler Robinson is that someone borrowed his car or someone could have taken his car, but this footage confirms he was driving it. And you can actually see when he drives off, you get a quite a clear view through the window, almost at a 90-degree angle, and you can see there's only one person in that vehicle. Number three, trace through financial transactions. This is the number 6 clue we all missed. We know it was him because he was traced via financial transactions. It's quite simple to do in practice, but not necessarily easy to investigate. You can flag the transactions, you can identify the location of the transactions, you can determine if there's CCTV in the area of the transaction. If there is, you can go and collect the CCTV, assuming it's not been recorded over. If it hasn't been recorded over, you can then match the timestamp on the transaction to the CCTV, and voila. That's also how they traced the Dairy Queen footage as well.
You didn't see that coming?
By the way, this is the number 6 clue we've all missed. Can you name the clues 1 to 5? Or haven't you really been paying attention? Right, inference number 4, wearing the same clothes. It's mentioned twice in the affidavit that Robinson discarded the clothing he wore when he fired the rifle. This is the first reference, and you can see at the bottom, we want to circle that in red, discarded the clothing he wore when he fired the rifle. Here's the second reference. When Robinson turned himself in, he was told it would be best if he brought all the evidence with him to the sheriff's office to avoid police having to search his parents' home. Well, the family friend also asked Robinson if he had any clothes that were related to what he did. Robinson replied that he had disposed of the clothes in different areas. That's also an interesting confession to say, well, I got rid of a lot of clothing. Well, if you're innocent, why would you throw clothes away? When last did you throw clothes away in different areas? And by the way, that's these clothes, and possibly this backpack as well. Right, number 5, significance. Where did he dispose of his clothing? And what is the significance of the garage stop overall? Well, it might be nothing, but it might also be that he went there to dispose of his clothing. I don't mean at the garage stop, but in Cedar City. Rather than do that where the heat might be in Orem. Dumping his clothes in his hometown, he may have felt was too close to home. If not, if he wasn't dumping his clothes, what was he doing there? What was he doing in Cedar City so early in the morning? Was he still on his way home from Orem, or was he on the way to work, perhaps heading to a part-time job from home? He can't be heading to college because DTC, that's Dixie Technical College, is back in St. George. So it does make one wonder, where did Tyler Robinson spend the night? Since he's wearing the same clothes, did he perhaps sleep in his car? If he was concerned after his interaction with the cops near the wooded area, and before heading to Dairy Queen, perhaps he felt going straight home was just too risky. If he delayed going to the wooded area because of cops in the area, perhaps he didn't go home that night for the same reason. Meanwhile, it does seem like he was home at some point on September 11. When his mother called later that morning after seeing the news, that's where he said he was. Robinson's mother stated the following to police. On September 11, the day after the shooting, Robinson's mother saw the photo of the shooter in the news and thought the shooter looked like her son. Robinson's mother called her son and asked him where he was. He said he was at home sick and that he had also been at home sick on September 10th. Well, this visit to the garage proves that that's not true. And heading to Cedar City, if he was homesick just to put in fuel, doesn't make any sense under those circumstances. Robinson's mother expressed concern to her husband that the suspected shooter looked like Robinson. Robinson's father agreed. There is also another question. What happened to the clothing the shooter wore during the incident? Well, we know it was disposed of, but exactly where? And exactly when? Was it after his mother showed him the surveillance footage or before? And was this early morning run to the garage part of that effort of getting rid of his clothing, or had he done that in Orem? The CCTV tracking of financial statements shows also why serial killers today are a relic from the past. It's very difficult to commit murder these days and get away with it. Well, get away without being seen, let alone serial murder. All right, that's 6 clues. How many of you can name clues 1 to 6 so far? And what do you think? Do I need to keep going with these clues because
I can do this all day. Yeah.
Okay, I'm not going to take it further than that. Meanwhile, there is another mystery that is really deepening in Australia. A little boy that has gone missing with so few clues. It really is. He's been missing for 8 days now. It really is quite a head scratcher. In any event, thank you for listening. Wherever you are, stay safe. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you guys next time.